time songs. Thank you so much, Jane. Isn't that wonderful? So here we are at one of the most wonderful times in our service. We can welcome up Reverend Cathy, Huff.
Thank you. Now, what did you say, Bev? You're close to the water? The water just came up. I used to play that song for my husband. Such a beautiful song. Now, if only I can get through this talk. Goodness. Good morning, everybody. You just thought I retired. Here I am again, like a bad penny, but delighted to be here as a guest speaker. Different title. Yeah. And this story comes from somebody who refers to himself as the Love Rabbi. His name is Yisrael Bernath. And he tells it like this. He says, it took place in Washington, D.C. at a metro station when on a cold January morning in 2007, a man with a violin began to play 6 Bach pieces, and he played for around an hour. During this time, approximately 2,000 people came through the station. Of course, most of them were on their way to work. So after about 4 minutes of playing, a middle-aged man noticed that there was a musician playing. He slowed his pace, and he stopped for a few seconds, but then he hurried on to meet his schedule. And then another 4 minutes passed, and the violinist received his first dollar. A woman threw money in the hat, but without stopping, continued to rush forward. At 6 minutes, a young man leaned against the wall to listen to him, then looked at his watch and started to walk away. At 10 minutes, a 3-year-old boy stopped, but his mother tugged him along hurriedly. The kid stopped to look at the violinist again, but the mother pushed him hard, and the child continued to walk, turning his head back the whole time. This action was repeated by several other children, but their mothers, too, were in a hurry and pushed them on. So 45 minutes passed, and the musician kept playing continuously. Only 6 people stopped and listened for a short while. About 20 people gave money and then continued to walk at their normal pace. The man collected a total of $32. And after 1 hour, he finished playing, and silence took over. No one noticed, and no one applauded. There was no recognition at all as he packed up his instrument and left the station. No one knew this, but this violinist was Joshua Bell, one of the greatest musicians in the world. He played some of the most intricate pieces ever written with a violin worth $3.5 million. 2 days before, Joshua Bell had sold out a theater in Boston where the average ticket price was $100 to hear him play. The same music. And this is a true story. Joshua Bell was playing incognito in the DC Metro station because this had all been arranged by the Washington Post as a part of a social experiment that was about perception and taste and people's priorities. And of course, this experiment raised several questions. The first being, in a commonplace environment, at an inappropriate hour, do we perceive beauty? Second question, if so, do we stop to appreciate it? Third question, do we recognize talent in an unexpected context? One possible conclusion could be reached from all of this. If we do not have a moment to stop and listen to one of the best musicians in the world playing some of the finest music ever written with one of the most beautiful instruments ever made, how many other things are we missing as we rush through life? When I read this, again, the waterworks started. I was wiping tears from my eyes, and I wondered immediately, have I been one of those people? Would I be one of those people who would rush through the metro station because I was too preoccupied with life with a capital L to stop and take in this incredible gift that was being presented to me in the moment. As I said before, I find myself wiping tears from my eyes for all sorts of reasons these days. Now, these tears were primarily, again, sad tears, as I thought about how many phenomenal sights and sounds I may have missed lately by being caught up in the minutiae of crashed cars and health challenges, and as my old friend Seinfeld would say, yada, yada, yada. All that brain cluttering stuff, I know you know what I'm talking about, that junk that clouds my vision and makes me lose sight of the wonders around me. But you know what? In the middle of those sad tears were also a bunch of gratitude tears as I thought, thank you, God, this is a perfect story to usher in my Sunday talk. Yay! The theme for the month being nothing other than living everyday wonder, and this week's title being Wonder, Wonder Everywhere. God is so good to me. I love a good story. This title, Wonder, Wonder Everywhere, made me smile, and I immediately thought of that phrase. You remember, water, water everywhere, and not a drop to drink. So I rearranged it. I said, let's change that. Let's just say, wonder, wonder everywhere, and wonders never cease. Yeah. Yeah. Author David Brooks reminds us that to feel wonder in the face of beauty is to be grandly astonished. A person entranced by wonder is pulled out of the normal voice-in-your-head self-absorption and finds herself awed by something greater than herself. There's a feeling of radical openness, curiosity, and reverence. There's an instant freshness of perception, a desire to approach and affiliate. But it's up to me. It's up to me to stop and tune into, with my spiritual eyes and my spiritual ears, to stop and take in all the wonders that are around me. Because spiritual living does not just happen on the meditation cushion or on Sunday mornings. If only I could sit on a meditation cushion. I'm laughing as I wrote that. I went, that's something from the past. I meditate in my bed now. Is a spiritual discipline. It's a spiritual discipline. Spiritual living is a way of life that happens every moment of every day, and wonder is everywhere present, just waiting for us to awaken to it. It's in the car we drive. It's in Shelley and Lena Alla and Barbara pressuring me last Sunday to take the top down on my loaner car, and all I was thinking of is, I want my car back. My car has crashed. Wah, wah. They made me stop and be in the moment and drive with the top down. Right? There's wonder. There's wonder in that car we drive. There's wonder in the home we live in. There's wonder in the neighbor's dog, except the one that poops on my lawn. There's wonder everywhere. We encounter wonders, if we're willing, every moment of every day. And we live in this wonderland that invites us to marvel at it and experience its magnificence and its love. But we all know, isn't it easy to forget that when we're caught up in the world of the relative, when we're distracted by our own stuff, and we're also assaulted with endless stories of war and sickness and cruelty and violence. Stories that can really blind us to the beauty and goodness that still abounds and can be found everywhere. Our Csl Global Vision contains two statements that are so relevant to this. The first one is, we envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life. A world where this kinship with all life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience. And the second statement, we envision a world which has renewed its emphasis on beauty, nature, and love through the resurgence of creativity, art, and aesthetics. So I have to ask myself, how am I contributing to the outpicturing of this vision? Does something as seemingly simple as stopping to appreciate, embody, and feel gratitude for the beauty that is in front of me, does this contribute to respecting and honoring the interconnectedness of all life? Of course it does. It cannot be otherwise, because it always will lead me back to spirit. And if I can love anything more, I'm loving God more. And if I'm loving God more, I'm loving myself more. And if I'm loving myself more, I'm able to love everyone else more. It's as simple as that. I didn't say it was easy, but it's as simple as that. In her book called See No Stranger, Sikh activist and author Valerie Carr writes, "Wonder is the wellspring of love. When we orient ourselves to wonder, then it becomes possible to wonder not only about ourselves, but about our world, and about other people and their worlds as well. We begin to sense that they are as vast and complex as we are. And when we choose to wonder about people we don't know, we begin to expand our circle of those we see as part of us, parts of us that we just don't yet know. It draws us closer, and it increases empathy and compassion. Wonder is where love begins." Kaur says this about love: "If you remember how to wonder, then you already have what you need to learn how to love." She says, love is more than a feeling. Love is a form of sweet labor, fierce, bloody, imperfect, and life-giving, a choice we make over and over again. If love is sweet labor, love can be taught, modeled, and practiced. And this labor, she says, engages all our emotions. Joy is the gift of love. Grief is the price of love. Anger protects that which is loved. And when we think we have reached our limit, wonder is the act that returns us to love. And our own Dr. Holmes says, when a person stands in awe of grandeur, something deep within him responds. Something within him embraces the ocean. Something within him melts into the mountain, and he becomes one with them. Now, Valerie Carr shares this story. This is a story of oneness, and she shares this in her book, again called See No Stranger. It's one of the origin stories of her faith, the story of Guru Nanak, the first teacher of the Sikh faith. 5 centuries ago, the story goes, halfway around the world, in a village in Punjab on the Indian subcontinent, there lived a young man named Nanak. He was deeply troubled by the violence around him, Hindus and Muslims in turmoil. One day he disappeared on the bank of a river for 3 days. People thought he was dead. They thought he had drowned. But he emerged 3 days later with a vision of oneness. In the Sikh religion, they call it Ik Onkar, the oneness of humanity and of the world. And this vision threw him into a state of ecstatic wonder, which is called Vismad. And he began singing songs of devotion called Shabads, praising the divine within him and around him. In other words, he was in love. Love made him see with new eyes. Everyone around him was a part of him that he did not yet know. He said, "I see no stranger, I see no enemy." Guru Nanak taught that all of us could see the world in this way. There's a voice inside each of us called Haumai, the I that names itself as separate from you. And it resides in the bowl that holds our individual consciousness. But we all know separateness is an illusion, and when we quiet the chatter in our head through music or meditation or recitation or song, however we do it, the boundaries begin to disappear. The bowl breaks. For a moment, we taste the truth, sweet as nectar. We are part of one another. Joy rushes in. long after the moment passes, we can choose to remember the truth of our interconnectedness, that we belong to one another. We can choose to see no stranger. To see no stranger is a choice that I really want to make. And I realize that I need to remake this choice many times in the course of the day, and sometimes in the course of an hour, depending on what I'm experiencing in the world of condition. So it becomes my job to cultivate and to embrace wonder as the path to interconnectedness and oneness. It's an essential journey, one that demands my constant attention as well as my constant willingness. Walking each step and continuing even when I falter, which I do often, it does increase my understanding that everything began as a divine idea in the mind of God. And when I'm in awe of the interconnectedness of all there is, I'm able to focus on the creativity and the beauty and the perfection that is everywhere present, despite appearances, despite what's going on in the outside. And it can be found in the ancient Sanskrit truth, Tattvan Asi, I am that. It's in the African philosophy, Ubuntu, I am because you are. And it's in the Mayan precept, in la catch, you are my other me. The failure to wonder contributes to separation, distrust, and violence. The failure to wonder contributes to the abuse of life and of our planet. We're all called to see no stranger. And this is a high calling, because it means loving people even when they don't love you back, and wondering about them even when they refuse to wonder about you. Wonder, wonder everywhere, and so many drops to drink. We're surrounded by and immersed in an awe-inspiring beauty, wholeness, and perfection. And it's our choice again. It's our choice to stop in reverent attention to the beautiful violin music that may be flowing around us, or to push past it in our hurry to get to that next place, or our worry about rushing on to the next thing that is demanding our focus. The universe continues to be abundant and resplendent. There's no limits to the magnificence of the wonder Spirit has created. Every person, every flower, every stone, every animal, every drop of water is a necessity and glorious part of the whole that we call the divine. And the more we orient ourselves to these wonders that we encounter daily, and the more we appreciate them as part of ourselves, or parts of ourselves we just don't yet know, the greater our capacity is to love and to experience joy. It's my vow, I'm speaking this vow in front of you today, to cultivate wonder, more wonder in my life. Now you might have noticed, as I quickly did, that our beloved new Rev Bev uses the word wonderment a lot in her prayers and her meditations. By George, I think she's got it. And I, for one, am very grateful for that, because I know she will continue to lead by example. And I love this advice from William Martin, the author of the Parents' Tao Te Ching. He says, do not ask your children to strive for extraordinary lives. Such striving may seem admirable, but it is the way of foolishness. Help them instead find the wonder and the marvel of an ordinary life. Show them the joy of tasting tomatoes and apples and pears. Show them how to cry when people and pets die. Show them the infinite pleasure in the touch of a hand, and make the ordinary come alive for them. The extraordinary will take care of itself. And I also love this practice that was offered in our outline by my esteemed colleagues, and they suggest the following. As you move through your day and come across faces of people you may see in the real world or even on the screen, Silently say to yourself, sister, brother, sibling, and allow yourself to begin to wonder about them and their lives. What did they have for lunch? Where are they going? What are their beliefs? What do they cherish? And then silently say, you are a part of me that I do not know yet. And you can do this with animals, with plants, and the earth as well. This practice orients us toward wonder and opens us to experience greater connections. This sweet activity is much like one that I've embraced lately, the past couple of years actually, where I'm driving down the street, I'll just start blessing people that are in my path. If I'm in the line in Walmart, I'll start blessing people. They don't know I'm doing it, but somebody's going to feel it somewhere, right? So it's kind of like that. It helps us to solidify and to remember our understanding of our interconnectedness. The Reverend Ted Loder says this, our inherent sense of mystery is our irrepressible longing for something we cannot name but intensely miss. We are afflicted or blessed with a kind of insistent cosmic homesickness. It comes in moments of awe and wonder at starlight or twilight, or a child's birth and unfolding, or the quiet peacefulness in an old woman's face, the surprising lift of music, a pause of self-recognition in Shakespeare, or the opening of the world in a line of poetry. And what better way to end this talk than by opening our worlds with some amazing, amazing lines of poetry written to usher in the new year by the young and inspired poet who awed us all with her words on Inauguration Day last year. Written by Amanda Gorman, it is called New Day's Lyric. May it inspire and bless you, and most of all, may it leave you in awe. New Day's Lyric. May this be the day we come together. Mourning, we come to mend. Withered, we come to weather. Torn, we come to tend. Battered, we come to better. Tethered by this year of yearning, we are learning that though we weren't ready for this, we have been readied by it. We steadily vow that no matter how weighted down, we must always pave a way forward. This hope is our door, our portal. Even if we never get back to normal, someday we can venture beyond it to leave the known and take the first steps. So let us not return to what was normal, but reach toward what is next. What was cursed, we will cure. What was plagued, we will prove pure. When we tend to argue, we will try to agree. Those fortunes we forswore, now the future we foresee. Where we weren't aware, we're now awake. These moments we missed are now the moments we make, the moments we meet. And our hearts, once together beaten, now all together beat. Come, look up with kindness yet, for even solace can be sourced from sorrow. We remember not just for the sake of yesterday, but to take on tomorrow. We heed this old spirit in a new day's lyric. In our hearts we hear it. For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne. Be bold, sang time this year. Be bold. For when you honor yesterday, tomorrow you will find. Know what we fought need not be forgot, nor for none. It defines us, binds us as one. Come over, join this day just begun. For wherever we come together, we will forever overcome. And so it is. I love you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Cathy. Well, I'm just going to start for 1 minute by saying thank you for this wonderful talk today. And then I just want to thank you from my heart, and I know the heart of this community, for everything, all the brilliant new days you have brought this community all along the way. And I know and hope and pray that you continue to stay with us and usher in more magnificent days. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So here we are in the time of tremendous gratitude for all the wonder around us. And I want to say how grateful I am and grateful this community is for all the wonderful giving that comes in, that supports, nourishes, nurtures this community so we get to do wonderful things in the world. So there are so many ways that one can give here, and most of you all know it because you already are these committed conscious givers. So I'm just going to repeat this just in case we've forgotten one way that you might be able to give to the center. You know, just go online to hawaiicsl.org. There's a donate button. Please, we love receiving checks in the mail. And if you see on the little keep me sheet, there's an address right on the back there. It's also on the website. And of course, those bowls that we have in the back, we love it when those are filled up to overflowing. So thank you for all the wonderful contributions. So right now, I'd like to invite you into this place, knowing that conscious giving is a sacred practice. Please close your eyes for 1 moment. If you would like to place your hand on your heart, just take a minute to lean into this place of abundance and of prosperity, and to ask the question, what is mine to give this day? And then please repeat after me. Divine love in and through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am. And so it is. Thank you. Jane.